welcome back to Shok's Talks. I'm Shakti, and today I'm talking about the out-of-body experience. So, for those who are new to the channel, this is my anomalous study hall. It's my weekly checkpoint where I share with you all of the things I'm learning about consciousness. The beginning of the channel was all about a UFO deep dive into UFO history and anomalous phenomena in current events, and then we veered off into the realms of secret government programs and remote viewings, remote viewers, and psychic spies, and all of that. And that kind of leads us towards consciousness research and deeper into our own understanding of the true nature of reality, which can only be gleaned through direct experience. So, at this point in the process, I am giving little updates here and there about things that are happening in the UAP news, but mostly I'm focusing on my own experience and how I can gather more information through direct consciousness phenomena of my own. And what that includes is remote viewing. I am a remote viewer on socialrv.com, and I now have 294 sessions under my belt. And I would still consider myself a beginner. I have some decent sessions on here. You can go and look at my Shocks Talks page on socialrv.com if you want to see what it looks like and check out some of my highlights. But I am still waiting to break through to that next level that the famous remote viewers talk about, where they have perfect sight integration, or if you've heard of extraocular vision or mind sight, some of the people that are developing that are able to employ those techniques with their remote viewing practices. And then, of course, the ultimate remote viewing is the out-of-body experience. Over the years, I have followed the work of researchers like Thomas Campbell and Nancy Trivellato and Luis Monero when it comes to out-of-body research. I've read Robert Monroe's books, and I've tried so many different techniques. I have a friend who's in Darius J. Wright's class, and recently my greatest inspiration for OBEs is the channel Out of Body Stories. So I will link that below for you. Especially check out this episode with this young man named Kaelen, who I communicated with via Instagram. And I decided to ask him some questions, and he actually responded. So I wanted to start off by sharing those responses with you because he gave me permission to do so. And I think when it comes to learning anything new, it's just good to share information. And that's my favorite thing about the internet. It's a place where we can be ourselves and share information. So I really hope you'll follow this channel. You can subscribe for free, and please comment, because that's how we can talk about what we're learning. How far along are you on your own out-of-body journey? Do you have any tips for me? Is there a book I should be checking out that I haven't yet read? Things like that. And I'm sharing with you all of my sources and where I'm getting my information, because it's incredible. Like, learning about what other people are going through in terms of their own out-of-body research and practice is pushing me forward more than anything else. And while this channel is still small and humble, I just want to say thank you so much to everyone who is subscribing and liking the episodes, because it just gives me that little extra boost. But I also wanted to share with you that I've had some really cool experiences where the subjects of my episodes have actually commented. So, for example, I think it was actually just a year ago or something, Jeff Nusatelli commented on my coverage of one of the UAP hearings, and that really boosted my spirit. And then this past year at Contact in the Desert, I saw him and I met him, and we chatted for over an hour. And he introduced me to his friend Scott Guerin, who I just recently did an episode on his book. And Dr. Joanna Kuyawa, the author of Alien Goddess, saw my book report on her book and commented, which gave me a big boost of energy and excitement. You know, it's validating and exciting to know that these people value what I'm doing, and they kind of matter the most in a way to me because they're the ones who I'm researching. And recently I got a comment from John Noble, who wrote Natural Remote Viewing. So these little things mean so much to me, but your comments mean a lot to me too. And even if it's not your work directly that I'm covering, you matter, and I really want to hear from you, especially if you're an experiencer of anything in the realm of anomalous phenomena, because we're in this together, and the goal here is the upliftment of all of humankind. It's this moment of leveling up, and maybe it's about remembering what we once knew as a civilization and that we lost over time through modern developments, or maybe it's really about breaking through into some new level of reality that we have yet to experience. I think it might be a combination of both. And so, things that I see for us in our future include heightened intuition, a greater flow, a deeper understanding of the nature of reality, more telepathic experiences, heightened psychic abilities, greater dream recall, and the ability to travel out of body at will, thus producing really profound personal experiences, but also being able to experience other consensus realities, or what Tom Campbell might call other data streams. And I just feel like all of these things can give us a larger perspective that is more expansive and more heart centered. And through that, we can actually ground into these earthly lives that we are here living and make better decisions for ourselves and for the world at large. It's all about just evolving and growing and helping ourselves through these really dark times, because, things aren't perfect in this reality. We have a lot of work to do, and it could be fun and exciting. It could be like our big art project together or something else that helps you to feel inspired. It doesn't have to be a total trudge, it can be something that we look forward to and that we co-create together. But for me, I think step one is continuing to understand the nature of consciousness. To me, that's the most important thing. So let's get into some of Kaelen's responses, and then I'm going to talk a little bit more about Preston Dennett. He's a UFO researcher, but he's also an out-of-body traveler, and he's also been a great source of inspiration for me recently. And he also corresponded with me through email, which, again, anytime anyone takes the time to send me these messages, it just really means the world to me. So, getting into Kaelen's responses, I asked 3 questions, and I'm just going to read it out to you. Number 1, he had an NDE. So I said, your NDE really stood out to me because it seems as though you've experimented with drugs quite a bit. So have I. Do you think there is any link between people who have already begun to crack the shell of limiting beliefs through experimentation with various substances, either positive or negative? Or is it just another factor that really has no impact on our abilities? I've often wondered and felt guilt and shame that maybe I did something that would limit my ability to have these experiences naturally. But the longer I live and research, the more I feel it almost makes no difference at all. Curious to hear your thoughts. So that was my question. He says, firstly, yes, I definitely am of the mind that using substances which facilitate experiencing altered states of consciousness will most definitely reduce limiting beliefs and alter one's perspective on their understanding of their own existence and place in the universe and relationship to the ineffable, etc. I think the way in which one's perspective is altered generally is a positive change. As for opening up abilities, I couldn't say. I know that in many cases there has been use of psychedelic substances and more in the pursuit of attempting to open up psychic abilities, but I haven't, through my own studies or experiences, seen any real correlation with that. I'm sure there may be more that meets the eye, but in my experience, psychedelics are the first step in many on one's journey of self-discovery. So I just thought this was cool for all of us out there, because we do live in a reality where maybe it's rare to find someone who is totally pure and pristine in this day of age, or maybe it's just the reality that I'm living in, the little bubble that I'm in. But a lot of us have either chosen to experiment with things, or things have been forced on us in different ways, even whether medications or just the chemicals in our foods and drinks and everything else. So we're not living in a totally pristine environment. So it's always comforting and encouraging to me when I hear people say, like, it actually doesn't make a difference. And that makes the most sense to me too, because consciousness goes beyond the physical. but also to hear this affirming resonance around the idea that sometimes psychedelics can be a really important first step for a lot of people. And they have been, I would say for me, mostly like weed and mushrooms have been really powerful and healing and beneficial in terms of insights. I feel that they are directly linked to the earth spirit and the earth guidance system. And at this point in my life, if I have any kind of religion, it's Mother Earth. That's my religion, because I'm really, really sick of the patriarchal views of these ideas of what a god could be, especially this masculine god that even a lot of the out of body travelers talk about. I mean, it's fine, but for me, I'm kind of more along the lines of Joanna Kuyawa and her alien goddess theory. I feel that we are in a moment in time where we need to balance the energies, and the patriarchy is still raging and it's causing problems for everyone. And I do believe that we need more, even if it's metaphorical, we need more feminine energy in the mix. And so for me, when I am crying out for help these days, and I was raised to speak to God and to think of God and talk to God and all this stuff. And even though it was a more alternative way of looking at things, there was still this masculine connotation, and it just wasn't working for me. But when I call out to the Mother Earth, or I remember that I'm just laying directly on her, or my feet are on her, that I am of her and she is of me and we are one, I start to feel really grounded. I start to feel the help coming through really quickly and clearly, the energy flowing and all that. So, all this is to say that I do believe that natural psychedelics, specifically the ones that come from the earth, are the ones that I have benefited from in the past. And of course, this is not about advice and this is not about telling anyone what to do, because everyone has to have their own autonomy and make their own decisions. And we're all on very personal paths here. So, what's right for me is not right for you necessarily. What's right for you is not right for me. And I respect you living your own life, doing your own thing. I know a lot of people that rave about other kinds of man made substances and have found some kind of truth in them. And that's just not for me, but that's fine, to each their own. So, anyway, that was question number one. Question number two: are you familiar with the work of Tom Campbell and his theory of consciousness? I go on to explain that. I won't read the whole thing for you here, but I asked him basically about Tom Campbell's experiences with Dennis Menerick and the way that they were able to share out of body experiences and bring back evidence. And I asked Kaelen if he's ever attempted anything like that, or is interested in that. And he said, yes, I'm familiar. Unfortunately, it's been a while since I've listened to or seen anything on the work that was done by them. I did listen to the podcasts by Tom Campbell. I believe it was that he recorded at the Monroe Institute, and I am familiar with some of the experiments they had done. I personally have not had much success with controlling my destination as of yet. I have had some verifiable experiences which I have recorded. So, this is interesting because a lot of young, new out of body experiencers, explorers, exploring experiencers. But anyway, people that are just getting into it talk about how it is hard to control what's happening, where you're going, what you're seeing. A lot of times, at the beginning, it's more like being pulled along on a dream journey or a visionary journey, and you're not always just able to do everything right away. And sometimes you almost have to learn to walk again like a baby, like you have to learn how to use your astral senses, so to speak. And this is something Preston Dennett talks about quite a bit in his out of body teachings. And so it was cool to find out that, like, it kind of also legitimizes for me some of the stories, because I'm comparing all the different stories from, you know, different decades, the research, the books, but also right now there's just a burst of activity on the internet. So when I hear people's stories, I'm contextualizing them within the body of research that I've done, or the work that I've done to try to understand this. And so it all checks out. I'm like, this makes sense. He's early in his experiences. He's having some cool ones, but he hasn't quite yet gained that full ability to choose where he's going and what he's doing and conduct experiments. And this will help me as I continue to dabble to feel more comforted by where I'm at in the process. So if it's early on and I'm just popping out and popping back in really quickly, that's okay. If I'm out having some dreamlike experiences, that's okay. And just to keep going, basically. So number 3 was I asked about UFOs and aliens. Basically, I just wanted to say, like, have you encountered anything in terms of classic aliens during your OBEs? Because as you all know, if you've been here with me on Chalks Talks, part of my research is trying to understand if I can get more clarity around the difference between abduction phenomena, alien dreams, and possible alien related OBE experiences. I think my leading theory right now is that the ETs are physical real beings in physical matter reality who have also learned to transcend physical matter reality through their understanding of consciousness. So, what that means is that they can also have OBEs and they can interact with us on the astral planes or in the different realms or in the different data streams, however you want to call it, but that they also do exist, at least some of them, here in the same subset of reality that we are in. And it's possible that some of them exist in other reality frames and are penetrating through into this one. I think it might be a combination. So Kaelen said, I am also highly fascinated by the phenomena. And totally, I think whatever beings exist out there that have the capabilities to fly across the stars and transmedium the way that whatever is piloting the ship we witness are, utilize consciousness within their technology. I also am of the mind that we are seeing no one single thing, but a multitude of different species, entities, technology. And I have no doubt that at least some of the beings out there that exist in this physical plane have understandings that humans currently lack, allowing them to travel with the non physical, physical alike. I have not actually experienced personally seeing any races of what we would recognize to be classical NHI. That being said, I did have one experience that I have always wondered, as it was a little peculiar. I was dreaming, but in my dream, I was in my house at the time, and everything was identical to the way it normally is, more so than my average dream. I stepped outside and I was standing in my driveway. I could see our cars parked to my left where they normally were, and I saw clearly what looked like a disc shaped UFO fly down low above me. And the moment they stopped, I got triggered into an OBE, but unfortunately disconnected very quickly after the vibrations started. I have always wondered if I was visited and they tried to pull me out of my body. Makes me wonder. Anyway, I hope this provides some help with whatever it is you're putting together. Best of luck on your projects. Cheers. So, thank you so much, Kaelen. I really appreciate you taking the time to respond. This was fun, and I hope our paths cross again later on. I thought about trying to do an actual interview with him, but work is so demanding right now. I just have to keep doing these really simple episodes where I just talk to you guys on the phone camera until I can catch my breath, and then maybe I can start the interviews at some point. I'd like to do that. So, all of this is so interesting. What I'm learning right now, I'm also reading this book by Preston, Dennett, Out of Body Exploring, A Beginner's Approach. And I will link for you some Preston videos below as well. Let's go ahead and see. What did I mark here? Maybe I can just read something. I thought this was cool. Oh, yeah, this is funny. So he has a lot of little journal entries here that talk about like some of his early experiences, and they're short. So what I like about Preston's work is that it's kind of training you to, I would say it's like bringing something into focus. Like, you know, when you go to the eye doctor and they keep clicking it and they're like 1 or 2, 2 or 3, 3 or 4, and they're trying to get you to click into what you can see the best. I feel like it's this subtle process of clicking into focus that this is one pathway into the out of body experience. And here's what I'll say. I think it's a spectrum of consciousness experience where waking life is just one end of the spectrum. That's our most concentrated, typical consensus reality type of experiencing. As we all know, even within our waking lives, we're all experiencing different realities. Some people are colorblind, some people are completely blind, some people have limited senses, other people have extra senses. Some people have special abilities, other people have limited abilities, and there's a whole range of neurodiversity and how we process information, how we feel the world around us, what we take in. Um, some people see other layers of reality in this layer, like once they start to see auras or energy fields, or they hear guidance in the form of a voice. You know, some people actually see other things, some people feel other things. So even though we casually call this the consensus reality, it's is there even such a thing? There's already so much variation going on within physical matter reality. But then beyond that, you have your meditative experiences, your visionary experiences, your shamanic experiences, your dream experiences, lucid dreams, psychedelic experiences, out of body experiences, and who knows how much more we haven't even discovered yet in terms of what consciousness is capable of. So, the way I see it is that out of bodies are just as natural as dreaming. And just like we all dream, but most of us forget our dreaming, so many people who go out of body state over and over again that we all go out of body every single night. And it's just a matter of learning to remember and then learning to gain control, because many people who are going out are kind of flailing around in an unconscious way. So this intrigues me a lot. And so what I've been doing is I've been writing down my dreams for 25 days now. And it takes a lot of effort, you know, and just through writing them down, I've noticed drastic changes in the kinds of dream experiences I've had. And the first couple weeks were very typical dreams, very boring, mundane. I was almost like, I don't even want to do this because it's so annoying. I don't even care about these dreams. I don't want to remember them. But I just kept going, kept going. And now I'm getting into much more interesting dreams that I call astral dreams, because I'm out in new locations with people I don't know and things are happening, but there's still this kind of overlay. Okay, I'm going to link for you one more video from this out of body explorer called Alchemist 369. And he seems to be pretty prolific when it comes to these out of body experiences, and he's basically like retired from his engineering job and gone and just committed himself full time to this out of body stuff, which, by the way, if you love me, help me manifest my future as an out of body experience and let me have a career just teaching or doing something with that, because that's my new heart's desire. I just want to like dive into this fully, and I want to be able to spend a lot of time, because once you get into it, you can do it like 4 to 5 times a week. Technically, you could do it every single night. And you do have to make a lot of space in your life. I've noticed that I've had to quiet down my evenings. I've had to eliminate certain foods from my diet. I am sort of scaling back when it comes to alcohol and weed. I am eliminating sugar right now. And of course, life happens, and a friend comes to visit, and we want to get treats or we want to have a glass of wine. I'm not restricting myself completely, but I'm really starting to make some changes. And as resistant as I was in the past to especially changing my diet, because it just triggers something in me. I hate being controlled in any way, but this is about personal self-control for the purpose of gaining an experience that I want to have. So I'm going towards a more vegan diet, cleaner eating, fresh whole foods, things like that. And I'm doing these things because all the teachers recommend it. And if they're all talking about it, they've got to be onto something. And if I'm serious about making this happen, I have to commit myself. So, Preston Dennett, being my current teacher who I'm reading from, is talking about exactly what I'm doing. Write down your dreams. and just keep recording every experience. And when you start to have your out of body experiences, write down every single one. And Alchemist 369 talked about the same thing. He said, go back and read your experiences and remember them. And sometimes you can go back to those same locales, or you can enter back into an experience, just like how you can re enter a dream. So, what I'm learning so far is that I am having these little dips that feel like it's almost like I feel like I'll sort of lose consciousness, but I'm out of my body. And then I feel the sensation of myself popping back in. And it's like this sudden landing in my body. And then I'm awake and I'm embodied again. I'm also having these little flashes of what almost feels like the vibrational state, but isn't quite that yet. And I love this, made me laugh so much, you guys. I'm reading the Nancy Trivellato book, and she compared the vibrational state to the orgasm. And it just was such a good metaphor because, if you know, you know, but especially among women, I will say that I've known there's this time in reality, like just due to the way that our bodies work, our orgasms happen on a whole spectrum too. There's different kinds, different intensity levels, different ways of having them. And I know this can be true for any type of body, but I find generally in my own experience that when it comes to the male body, that there is a really conclusive, easy to understand version of an orgasm that's more typical that most people are having. Whereas with women, it's this whole like range of things that are possible. But because of that, a lot of people will sort of convince themselves that they're having them before they actually have. And if you know, you know, when you're a woman, you're like, girl, you hear your friend talking about it, like, yeah, I think, yeah, he made me come. It was good. It was kind of, yeah, it was like, and you're like, no, it didn't happen. Like, when it happens, you know. And it's not a question, and it's very complete, and there is a sense of satisfaction, and there's a whole sensation that's happening. Like, you're tricking yourself if you think that that was it. If you don't know, that wasn't it. And that's exactly what Nancy Trivellato was saying about the vibrational state. She's like, yeah, a lot of people, you start to have a little feeling here and there, but when you really have it, trust me, girl, you're gonna know. And I just thought this was so helpful because I have had those little whispers of like, oh, I feel like my energy's loosening from my body, or I feel like I'm sort of my astral arms are coming out, but my head is still in my body, or something weird like that, like little halfway things. Or I feel this kind of vibration, but the people that go into the actual vibrational state say that it is so extreme, it's like being electrocuted, but not in a scary, bad way, but it's like very, very, very big feeling, big, powerful feeling. And that it also is often accompanied by an extremely loud noise that can feel like a freight train is just barreling towards you, or like a loud alarm is going off. I have had the loud alarm going off when I was using binaural beats, like a year or so ago when I was trying to meditate, and I thought maybe it was part of the audio, but it wasn't. So I think I have had some of the beginning stages, but I haven't fully had the full thing. You know what I mean? So, anyway, we're trying to take these really esoteric, ephemeral things and put them into concepts and words. So, again, I just highly recommend reading, researching, listening to all the stories. I'm sharing what has been helpful to me. And again, I'm really happy to hear anything that you want to share. And I do have a Shocks Talks email. It's just shockstalks@gmail.com. So if you ever want to share something with me directly, and you'd prefer to do that instead of commenting, please feel free to reach out through that email. And I'm really excited. I mean, I'm almost thinking like once I get out of body and I'm experiencing everything and I'm exploring, maybe I'll start like a second channel and it'll just be called Shocks Talks OBEs or something. I don't know. Maybe I'll just keep going with this, but I'm just getting excited because I do feel like I'm making progress, and I want to get out there and have fun like everybody else that's doing this stuff. It does take a commitment, but it is something that we can all do. That's what everybody says. And the more I learn about Preston's experiences, especially, the more I feel that I am on the verge, because I'm having these astral dreams. I'm having these little, I think I'm having some little OBE experiences, but I haven't had that full thing yet, you know? So when I get there, just like Nancy Trivellato said, I'm sure I'll be like, you guys, it happened. It's undeniable. Like, I did it. And that's going to be really exciting. So I'm looking forward to that day. Thanks for being on this journey with me. Thanks for checking out my content. And I will see you next time on Shock Talks.